The story of Rama that we're going to see is not exactly the one that is done traditionally. First of all, we're in New York, not a jungle, with a wound that may be healed a little through dance and sound, reviving the cosmic aspect of human life and divine love in the midst of strife. The love of Rama and Sita, of demon king Ravana, who steals Sita to Lanka, of Hanuman, monkey king, who fights demons and saves her, and of the final reunion of Rama and Sita, divine pair, perfect in purity and light as God decreed it. A 2,000-year-old story from the tangly deep forests of India, from the devotional imagination of Valmiki, forest poet sage in skins at a cave mouth, his poem, the Ramayana, traveling by word of mouth over water and land to Southeast Asia, Burma, and the Philippines, now played out in the deep concrete forest of New York City. Episodes from the epic tale brought to life by Indian, Burmese, and Philippine traditional dancers and our own John, each with our own take on the story in order to make it our own. The New York Travels of Rama, the New York Ramayana. First, we'll see a worshipful bhajan for Rama's beauty, nobility, and radiant face, asking to fill us as well with a portion of his dazzling grace. His moon-like light reflecting from God, called on to shine in our hearts and flood with supple devotion all our bodily parts, and let the story of the dance begin. And it does begin. On the banks of the Sarayu River, in the Ayodhya kingdom, old King Dasaratha longs for sons to inherit his throne. Praise to God, who gives him good news of 4 sons, Rama, Bharata, twins Lakshmana and Satrugna, born to the king's 3 wives, Sumitra, Kaikeyi, and Kausalya, each one a mystical cog in the divine wheel of the human mandala. But Rama, our hero, incarnation of Vishnu, God name as preserver of the universe, stands as a perfect human being, projecting cascades of spiritual radiance, portrayed in the paintings as smoky blue and smiling, pure as the sound of a waterfall, sweet as a trilling of skylarks, noble as the fanning of a peacock's tail, joyful as garlands of white roses falling from golden skies, his lotus feet hardly treading the earth, all beauty and glory, envious of none, tranquil and gentle of speech, forgiving and compassionate, in a constant outpouring of godlike light. The 4 princes grow up happily in the jeweled city of Ayodhya, learning from their royal instructors. When one day, a forest sage named Vishwamitra comes to the king and asks to take Rama back with him to the forest. But the king, who loves Rama best of all, doesn't want Rama to go. Vishwamitra gets angry because only Rama can successfully kill the demons who interfere with their worship. He knows by divine wisdom that only Rama was sent to earth to do so. Rama's brother Lakshmana goes with him into the forest to learn from Vishwamitra magical martial arts, cosmic spells, etheric bows and arrows, invincible artillery against evil. Suddenly, Tataka, monstrous demoness, hideous and snarling, skulls round her neck, sharp claws shooting flames, screams out of the sky with hurricane fury. But Rama, facing his first big test, now armed with superior knowledge, stands firm with bow raised, poised and unafraid, takes careful aim, His arrow sings through the air. She's dead before her swoop down at them even finishes its arc, like a screech stopped in mid-flight, thundering to earth. The forest suddenly peaceful, its black leaves shining in the twilight. Next day, they will travel to the court of King Janaka to win Princess Sita's hand in marriage by lifting and stringing Shiva's golden bow, so awesomely heavy no mortal has ever successfully lifted it. But on the way, Rama's grace releases a woman from a spell that turned her to stone. Not a pleasant thing when you're used to being flesh and bone. He simply touches the stone with his toe, and she's back to being Ahilya, so beautiful even stars in the sky swoon, Rama's light outshining them like the full moon. The day of the contest at Janaka dawns. When the Ramayana reached Burma, it became adapted to the Buddhist tradition, and some differences from the Indian version were introduced to thicken the plot even more. 10-headed, ego-mad, lust-driven demon king Ravana, named Dattagiri in Burma, also comes to the bow-lifting contest. Dattagiri finds an invitation floating down a stream, inviting the bearer to the kingdom of Mithila. Fiery lust for Sita, Thida in Burmese, consumes Dattagiri, and he arrives in a demonish fury. But Rama, Yama in Burmese, and Lakshmana, Lakshana in Burmese, also arrive to compete for Thida's hand. It takes 5,000 men to drag the iron cart that contains Shiva's golden bow, as heavy as a planet, to the contest. To the astonishment of everyone, Dattagiri manages to lift the bow, but he can't pull back the string to string it because he lacks the virtue to do so. Two other contestants try, but can't even budge the bow a fraction of an inch. Then Yama's brother Lakshana lifts the bow and even strings it, but knows that Thida belongs to Yama, so he pretends he can't shoot the arrow that would win her as his bride. Finally, Yama lifts the bow of Shiva, glory streams, strings the bow of Shiva, all the stars in the sky rejoice, puts an arrow in its place and shoots. All the heavens and earths boom with a resounding twang. The arrow flies, soaring like Thida's heart into the blue, for she's become mad in love with Yama. But Dattagiri isn't satisfied. Demons never follow rules. Waving his arms as usual, he foolishly fights Yama for the prize. Yama shoots him in the ear. He flees the scene. Go, rambunctious Dattagiri. Yama, not you, has won fair Sita. And for the wedding, we go to the Maranao Filipino version from Mindanao, where the names of our heroes undergo yet another transformation. Rama is Radha Mangandiri. Lakshma is Radha Mangawama. Sita is Potri Malaila Ganding. And Ravana is Raja Malawana. The wedding of Radha and Potri takes place, a union of purity and radiance. Celestial drums echo and umbrellas of blessings spin on this wedding dance. Peace at the palace lasts for a while, but King Dasaratha sees death smile just for him and wants to hand over his throne to be his beloved Rama, whose radiance shone even greater than the sun. Jubilation in the city comes to everyone but one, who's definitely not having fun. The hunchbacked devilish maid Mantara, who should have stayed home and played her guitarra, is in a fury because Rama will be king instead of her queen's son, Bharata, who she thinks should be king. So she sets about putting into the queen's head the idea that the king should be Bharata instead. Mantara says, if Rama is king, his mother will treat us like dirt. We'll wear rags and tatters instead of a jewel-studded skirt. The conniving maid tells the queen to demand the 2 favors the king promised long before, since she savors revenge for what she considers a betrayal. So Queen Kaikeyi presents an angry portrayal. When the king comes to the door, he finds the queen cold, in a fury, standoffish, icy, and bold. The king makes a big mistake. He says, oh, queen, what's the matter? Not a good idea. Whatever it is, I'll make it all better. Just tell me what you want. Anything, it's done. What a fool. So Queen Kaikeyi says to the king, okay, make the next king my son, and banish Rama to the forest for 14 years. King Dasaratha is aghast at what he hears. It's like sharp arrows gouging out his brains. He made a promise of 2 favors to her, but it makes him insane to hear about it now. He swoons, revives, face dark, in shock. But Rama, sweet as always, submits to the decree, a veritable rock of obedience and duty. He totally acquiesces. We see here how a divine decree coalesces. So Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita go off to the forest, leaving the king distraught, all his happy, regal zest for life gone in a flash. Dark evil wins the day, all happy plans crash. But Bharata, faithful brother, won't take over as king. He puts Rama's sandals on the throne until Rama can bring peace and joy back to Ayodhya again, banishing darkness from the hearts of men. In all 3 cultures, Indian, Burmese, and Maranao, the forest is central. As if the memory clings to us of our emergence from the soul forest into the light, from the womb forest into life, and from the earth forest that will carry us deep within it once again. As if a memory of early forest wisdom clings to our spirits no matter where we happen to be. The forest a place of daring and danger. And the forest in the Ramayana is a place of both paradise and hell, of waterfalls and jeweled grottos, monkeys and gazelle, but also of wild beasts and demons with rapacious appetites, fangs and nasty tempers, who come upon you hurtling with the sound of crashing meteors. In the Burmese version, Yama is completely obedient to the decree of his forest exile, willing to sacrifice the throne of his beloved people by not ruling in Ayodhya for 14 years. His brother Laktana, at first furious, is appeased by Yama but wants to go with him to the forest as well. Precious Tida also wants to accompany Yama, though at first he refuses. It's dark and dangerous, wild and full of thorns, giant monsters, growling things with horns. Theta says, a wife's duty is to be with her husband. If you eat roots, I eat roots. If you sleep on the ground, I sleep on the ground. They ride out of Ayodhya, bidding the grieving people farewell. King Dasaratha is in despair, disowning Queen Kaikeyi, his wife, whose nefarious plot brought this all about. Yama and Tida and Lakthana enter the forest. Its wild beasts, its demons lurking, its primordial beauty, not aware that Datagiri is hoping to put them through an ordeal so sooty, it will trash their woodsy dreams with his demon schemes. Raja Malawana is ever watchful to kidnap Potri and take her to Lanka. In the Maranao version, Raja Malawana, those words, I tell you, Raja Malawana transforms himself through his magical powers into a golden goat to lure Radha Mangandiri and Laksamana away from Potri so he can snatch her. Though it's not a golden deer in the Indian version, maybe a yellow cab here in New York. Anyway, something golden, elusive, but theoretically available, like a taxi. Oh, Radha, don't kill it. Catch it for me, says Potri. So he runs off to try to capture it for her, leaving only Laksamana behind to protect her. But the goat, who is really Raja Malawana in goat form, calls out for help in Radha's voice. Oh, Potri, Laksamana, help me. Potri tells Laksamana to go quickly. The Radha told him not to. She insists, can you stand there while your dear brother is in peril? Laksamana leaves her with clear instructions not to set foot out of the house, the circle of protection. Crafty Raja Malawana, meanwhile, turns himself back into demon form and enters the house with his magic charms, frightening Potri nearly to death. The demon king wastes no time in formalities, grabs her and takes her up in the air, since he's Raja Malawana and can fly like a demon. Back in the forest, Yama's turned inside out with grief, goes mad with despair, asks stones and trees if they've seen her, looks everywhere, even asks the air, have you seen her pass through? Wants to die without her, his brother calming his anguish. But when Dattagiri snatched Tita away through the air, chortling chillingly the while, he flew into Jatayu, giant vulture king's airspace. Jatayu recognizes Tita and attacks Dattagiri out of his great love for Yama. They fight in the air, circling and coiling through space, wheeling through clouds until Dattagiri slashes Jatayu's wings and the bird falls to the earth vanquished. Ravana Dattagiri scudding away in the sky, Theta still held captive in his ravenous clutches. Yama and Lekthana come upon the dying Jatayu, who tells them it's Dattagiri who has her, but doesn't know where he's taken her. The Burmese Ramayana has a touching scene where Dattagiri takes Tita to his palace in Lanka, island paradise inside a cave entrance guarded heavily by demons, grand staircases and palisades, pools and esplanades, jewels in abundance, his wives in their porches, abundance and more abundance, and he intends to make Tita his wife, but Tita won't have him. So she and Dattagiri do a tug-of-war, stretching the strong cloth of her virtue and chastity to its length, but Tita doesn't give in, won't submit to his fanged and snorting advances. She belongs only to Yama. Fate has decreed that nothing will keep Yama away from her, saving her, which little does he know means certain death to Dattagiri. Hanuman, Monkey King, searching in the south, finds Sita held captive on the island of Lanka. So he flies back to the mainland in one leap and reports to Rama that he's discovered her. Hanuman then assembles his monkey army, monkily military, and starts marching in monkey ranks as befitting monkeys. Since they must cross the ocean to get to Lanka, they build a bridge. Is it the George Washington Bridge after all? Does that mean Sita's held captive in New Jersey? As soon as the bridge is constructed, Hanuman's monkey army with Rama and Lakshmana crosses over into Lanka. For the final showdown, we go to the Philippines, where the story has undergone major transformations. Here, the monkey's mother is Potri herself, who doesn't tell him the name of his father. Monkey goes off to the forest and finds both Radha Mangandiri and Maharadha Lawana and sings, "All I've dreamed of all these years is to eat with you from a single banana leaf. and sleep in your fatherly arms. I will rescue Potri Malaila. Lakshmana even calls for crocodiles to attack the Demon King's stronghold. When Radha gets wounded in battle, Monkey revives him by sharpening his sword and magically curing him. You'll also see Monkey having an amazing transformation back into human form. Lakshmana battles Maharadhi Lawana in Filipino Silat martial arts style and rescues the princess from his evil grip. Sita is saved, but she was held captive by that lust-pat Ravana for so long, people thought she couldn't be chaste, though she sang the song of chastity. To save his honor and that of his family, Rama commands her to return to the forest. But she'd rather die than be separate again from her beloved. So she enters the funeral pyre for a trial by fire to prove her fidelity to Rama. We see the flames, we see her enter them as cool as a cucumber, or even cooler, since the divine truth will not encumber her with incineration and dishonor. God knows she's chaste and will not waste her in flames. To the joy of all, and especially Rama, she emerges unscathed, and this metaphysical drama finally unfolds toward their coronation. We'll be out on the New York streets, getting in taxis or subways or cars. We're not by a fire in Burma, India, or the Philippines, watching a devotional production of the Ramayana under the stars, mechanical honking instead of glorious peacocks in trees, loud thrum of city instead of the waters of far eastern seas. Yet we've seen a magical reenactment of a story over 2,000 years old, emerge from the air in New York and radiantly unfold and slip back into it again, as we again look less like dancers and more like diverse New York women and men on their way somewhere. For a moment at least, there's nowhere else to go but attend the union and coronation of Rama and Sita, as they now know the reason for their story. Rama, the divine spirit of preservation of the universe, vanquishes the demonic interference that keeps us from glorifying God as he should be glorified. All people rejoice from all three traditions as one voice, and the New York Ramayana rides off in joy and deliverance as befits a great story in an imagined Ramayana Rolls Royce.